There are 8 major principles that are the center point of the Ashtanga Yoga.
That means that your environment isn't able to push certain buttons within you, trigger certain automatic reactions. Hello Manoj. Welcome back to our Chat on the Mat, episode number 2. This time without a mat, but therefore in a beautiful, sun-shining autumn day in Heidelberg. I'm back. My name is Marvin. I'm back with Manoj, also known as manoyogi. In the last episode, we were talking about the Patanjali Yoga Sutra, what it's the history behind it, as well as who Patanjali is, and also how we can bring it to the Western world or modern world, how we can apply it in our all-day life, and how it can help us in our mental health, general overall well-being, as well as personal growth and unfolding. Manoj, thank you once again for being here. Let's get back to the Patanjali Yoga Sutra. In the last talk that we had, you were introducing us into the world of Patanjali's work, and you were mentioning those 4 limbs. We dove into the first one, we had a look at it, and stopped there. So maybe we can continue here. That would be an interesting thing, I guess.
You know, everybody know about Yoga Sutra at some extent. At some point in their life, they came across it and they were fascinated, but had never enough time to digest it, to understand it, that how you can really apply this into your life, or if it's just only limited to the yoga mat. And many of the audience is going to say, no, yoga is not just on the mat, it's the way of life. People that who get a little bit deep into this, they realize it itself is a self-realization. And when you're realizing that, okay, yoga is not just on the mat, it's the way of life, then they want to dive a little bit deeper into Yoga Sutras. Yoga Sutra, that is a compilation of 196 sutras in compressed formulas, are divided into 4 chapters, are giving you a synthesis of how you live while you are living to keep yourself in a very good state with your body, with your mind, with your emotions, with your goals, with your vision, with your purposefulness of the life, whatever you think. How to have this applied science, psychology, and the mind science that can really help you to thrive in this lifetime. In a nutshell, everybody know that there are 8 limbs. There are 8 major principles that are the center point of the Ashtanga Yoga, in Patanjali Yoga Sutra. So in that, the first 4 limbs are itself very, very powerful to live a good and fulfilling life. You don't need to have a belief system. You don't need to have a certain way of life. Just applying those 4 limbs, first 4 principles, just applying that in your life, you already have a better life experience. You will stay fit, you will stay healthy, you will stay totally aligned with your intuition and your emotion and your state in a very good way. And those are yam, niyam, asana, and pranayama. Just by doing that, you already have a very, very, very good life. But see, it's about the courage. When you build up the courage and start to have a status quo with the system, with the things, how people behave, what the media tell you, what are the propaganda going on, what are the social causes are going on at the moment, who wrote the history, what is the real deal. And when you build up a courage to really want to dive a little bit deeper, then you can enter into the second part. Then it starts from the limb number 5th to the 8th. So now let's dive deep first. So yam, niyam, asan, pranayam, pratyahar, dharana, dhyan, samadhi. What is the number 5th? Is pratyahar. It means that you now start to practice something while you are sitting and comfortable. You can breathe calmly and deeply in a fashion that is appropriate to keep you calm, steady, and like really feeling something, your presence. Next level is pratyahar, when you start to withdraw from the senses. It means you can also experiment that at wherever you are, wherever you are listening or watching this. That just for a moment, take a deep, slow breath in and listen to all the sounds which are coming to you. Now try to withdraw yourself from the names and the labels of those sounds. Don't allow your autopilot to give it a name immediately. It is a practice, and that is a pratyahar. When you start to withdraw from the senses, it means you are developing a state of your presence that is experiencing the intelligence behind everything physical. And your ability of non-judgment on yourself, others. Something external cannot bother you, cannot influence you in a certain way that you get a fluctuation in your emotions, your habitual patterns. Then you start to master the state of pratyahar. Itself is a very powerful. When you really accomplish yourself into that, you are already, a very, very simplistic, overly simplified example of it is that you are now in the top 5% of the people in this world. Because here onwards, you're not impulsive. Here on, you are not compulsive. Here on, you start to acquire the conscious sort of a control over the signaling of your senses and breaking this automatic interpretation of it. Imagine how much of the mental energy you start to save that way.
Yeah, and also as a consequence, if you on the pratyahara, if you have a certain depth on it, as a consequence, you also are more non-reactive. That means that your environment isn't able to push certain buttons within you, trigger certain automatic reactions. I don't know if it was if the audience is able to hear it on the videotape, but just a few moments ago there was a practical example. There were children here playing, but you were still able to simply stick to yourself, focus to yourself and to the point. This is also some kind of pratyahara, the direct example of it, right? That you don't get too influenced by your outer surroundings and still are able to stick to yourself and to the point in that example that you were trying to make. Is that a good summarization for?
If you like, and you have a very good observation.
Yeah.
Yes. When you are truly on the path of yoga, you're not only becoming a warrior, but also many other dimensions of your personality, of your interaction with the world, with the environment, and the people around you start to transform and change. In an essence, you start to acquire some sense of a control on the self. in the simple term, it means that you start to build up a willpower that start to come with yoga, that that can be enhanced and practiced. One need to have very clear intentions. One need to also build up the courage, and when the courage start to build, your self confidence start to just increase. Your aura just get a little stronger, not in the arrogant way, not in a way that is yeah, cliche or over the top, but something like, you know, you become very easy in yourself. You are not in the judgmental state, you know. So this is something that start to come with yoga, and which has a practical usability in acquiring wealth, bringing and growing the opportunity of the richness in your life, so you can acquire some sort of freedom on your time, so you can do something which really enable you and unlock you for the soulful living.
Beautiful. We had a talk earlier this day where you were also explaining the multidimensional application of the Patanjali Yoga Sutra. That it's an application for people in society, for at whichever level you might say you are right now. It's an application. There were these 4 fundamental principles of Dharma, Arth, Karma, Moksha, if I get it right. And yeah, maybe that's an interesting thing to also recapture for here, for at this very moment, because as I got it right now, pratyahara is a very elemental limb, so to speak, if one really seeks to get mastery over oneself, not be a slave of any conditioning, of any circumstances, of any whatsoever, but be able to create your own life in a conscious way. Anyways, you're creating it, but usually most people are creating it in a compulsive way, just based on conditioning, based on reactions, based on all that. So let's get a bit further into that and into the differentiations between those 4 things and what they mean and how yoga is applied practically. Maybe you also have a practical application for how you can practice pratyahara if you're a beginner. Or would you say, if that's also a possibility, not for the beginner, start at yam and niyam, asana, pranayama?
Can go very deep into the topic. I don't know if you would agree with me or not, but let me share something with you. Why not we spread something that, okay, like, you know, there are many topics, and we can interlink everything with everything, because there is a deep interlinkages of all the philosophy, whether we talk about the Patanjali Yoga Sutra, Hatha Yoga, Pradipika, any of the scriptures, that is from the Puranas, the stories of what happened, Itihas, Mahabharata, Ramayana. We can talk about Kama Sutra. We can talk about Ayurveda. We can talk about the mind science. We can talk about the art. We can talk about self-realization. We can talk about the Kundalini. We can talk about the Tantra. We can dive a little bit deep and talk just the mere word behind sex. Like how you can really unlock yourself from just sex and create your life with that. We can talk about, like, you know, what are the holistic principles of wealth building, wealth making. We can talk about your personality, that how you can enhance, how you can just get fine tunes with yourself, or maybe at least experiment something with some asana practice, with some breathing, with some other techniques which are maybe very less people know, but they can be told on YouTube. They can be told and talked about in the comment section. So I think we will keep it that way, but we let it expand a little bit first.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can really have so much fun, because it's very important that our audience are participating. They're asking questions. They're also telling us what is going on, something they would love to share.
Mm-hmm.
So this way, I think then we really know what really makes sense to focus on.
Very good.
Yeah.
So, if I got it right, then that was a clear call. There are many, many very interesting topics that we can further dive into, and that you just presented on this silver plate right now. So, I would say it's up to you as audience. You can choose something from the topics that Manoj just mentioned, or also something that you are interested by yourself, and always let us know, and then we can pick something up based on that, because everything is there, and it's just about what is relevant for the people right now.
Yeah.
There are so many topics that can be talked. So I would suggest for that episode, further stick to the Yoga Sutras, go further down the line, and yeah, then we can see in the next ones what is up to follow there. We finished now.
Yeah.
All right.
Small chunks. It's better.
Yes.
Yeah. See, we are also recording that.